The king was intrigued by Ifeoma and decided to see her for himself. He walked around her hut and knocked on her door. Ifeoma answered very faintly, "Who is it?" The king responded, "Ifeoma, please don't be afraid. I mean you no harm. I just want to talk to you and get to know you." Ifeoma hesitated, but she felt a strange pull towards the king's voice. She wondered what he wanted to talk to her about, and so she opened the door and let him in. When she opened the door, she saw the king standing outside smiling at her. He was tall and very handsome, with beautiful brown eyes and a kind face. He looked at her with interest and not disgust or pity. The king walked into the hut and looked around the hut. It was very small and simple, but also very clean. He saw the dresses that Ifeoma had sewn, and he was very impressed. He then looked at Ifeoma herself very carefully and saw a very beautiful woman. She was plump and curvaceous and had a beautiful oval face and large eyes. He said to her, "I am delighted to meet you, Ifeoma. You have such a beautiful smile." Ifeoma was sincerely surprised by the king's words. She did not expect him to notice or appreciate her. "Thank you," she said. "You are very kind." Ifeoma and the king smiled at each other and felt a warm and tender feeling in their hearts. They spent the next few hours talking, laughing, and eating. Ifeoma shared her past with the king. She told him of the humiliation she had gone through at the hands of her peers just because of her weight. The king shook his head sadly and told Ifeoma that what he admired about her was her size. In fact, the minute he laid his eyes on her, he was attracted by her beauty and her curvaceous body. But most importantly, he appreciated the fact that she was very industrious and seemed to have a kind heart. Ifeoma was overjoyed. She finally felt seen. Regardless of her size, the king was in love with her. Meanwhile, outside the hut, the village was in an uproar. The other girls, especially Ngozi, were furious and jealous that the king had chosen to visit Ifeoma and spend so long in her hut. Ngozi had always disliked Ifeoma. She hated her for being different and not fitting in. But what she hated the most about Ifeoma was that despite her being fat, she seemed happy and found joy in simple things. For a long time, Ngozi had made Ifeoma's life miserable. She did everything she could do to make her feel worthless. She taunted her, humiliated her, and insulted her. She even stole her belongings and broke her water pot several times just to make her cry, so that she could laugh at her tears. When all this didn't seem to break Ifeoma, Ngozi kept telling her that she was worthless and that her existence was a mistake. When Ngozi realized that the king liked Ifeoma and looked at Ifeoma with admiration and not disgust or pity, she knew she had to deal with Ifeoma once and for all. She could not accept that Ifeoma, the fat, ugly loser, had won the handsome king and was soon going to become the future queen and the most envied girl in the village. Ngozi just could not accept this, and so she decided to destroy it all. She decided that she was going to take away Ifeoma's love and happiness and make her suffer more than ever. In fact, she decided that she was going to go to the witch once and for all. The witch lived in the forest, far away from the village. She was feared and avoided by everyone because she was known to have dark and dangerous powers. She could cast spells and curses and could manipulate fate, fortune, and the future, and make people mad, sick, and even dead.